Championship rings and things what we about. Competition out, down for the count. DFDUBB's about stacking our clout. No slacking our game, that's without doubt. Every snap, every pass, every running route. Every play of every game, man, we gon' scout. Players might rise and fall and then bust. DFDUBB provides it all you can trust. Trophies on the mantle, dubs on the panel. Opponents can't stand you, don't change the channel. Sit back, relax, take notes for a bit. DFDUBB Scrubs on the throne winning ships. DFDUBB Scrubs coming up.
All right. Welcome to DFDUBB Scrubs Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Alex, along with Nambo, Christian, and Turtle Valdes in the background.
I like turtles.
All right. So today we got a special episode for y'all. We're going down, I guess, the round tiers. Pick two players from each round that kind of go in each round, and then they might be difficult, somebody that you may or may not know who to choose from, and then we'll let Nambo and Christian kind of give their vote and why they think that player should be picked over the other one. But before we get to that, we're gonna go over some news. Nambo, what you got for us, buddy?
Well, Michael Thomas is dealing with a hammy hammy injury.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep an eye on. You know, it's still early, but we like 2-3 weeks away from the start of the season. So, Drake London knee. He's been dealing with a knee issue. From what everybody's been saying, they said they should be fine, ready to go week 1. So, if anybody was concerned, it sounds like, most of those concerns can be, thrown out the window. Some unfortunate news is Dawson Knox had a loss in the family. His brother passed away, unfortunately. So, as of right now, he's with his family and he's away from the team. His return's kind of up in the air. They're not sure when he'll be back. Condolences to him and his family. Watson, his suspension got moved to 11 games and $5 million. So, I mean, he's missing more than half of the season at this point. So, that's going to affect everybody on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to be rolling with Jakobi Brissett. So, I don't know if that affects y'all's opinion on Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. I mean, no.
That's a very strategic timing on his comeback, no?
Absolutely, yeah. He's coming back to play.
NFL is all about their money, man. They do not care.
Definitely gonna be a huge story.
I'm gonna tune in. There's no way they're gonna put that on primetime, right? They'd get a lot of backlash.
I don't know. I feel like they would.
Yeah.
But if they move that to a Sunday night game or something.
Bro, they are. It's going to be one of the most tuned-in games of the year.
It's going to be a minimum of 3 o'clock game, 100%. But yeah, no, we'll see. It's definitely going to be must-see TV for football fans.
Last but not least, Kenny Walker. He's feeling a little tender from the surgery he had recently, so they're not sure if he'll be ready to go week 1. So that's something pretty big as far as drafting goes. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
See as we get closer, but I mean, by the time we really know something for sure, everybody's gonna be done. Do their drafts and everything. So
100%.
Yeah.
Who plays more games this year, Ken Walker or Rashaad Penny?
Penny.
I'm leaning towards Penny, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Over
Not
under 10
I have
games.
More. It has nothing to
I mean,
do
for
with the fact
fantasy
that
purposes, I
drafted
hope
him.
he does over.
All right. Well, I guess that's all the news you got, Nambo?
Yeah, that's all I got for now, man.
What about the Cowboys having a return man specialist now? 2 TDs in that last game.
Not really fantasy relevant, so.
If you're wondering about the Dallas Cowboys defense, and / special teams, I think that's a added incentive. They have a return guy that can take it back.
Yeah, he's pretty nasty. I'm excited to watch him.
Crickets.
No, I'm dead serious.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
two returns in one game. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
that's
Devin Hester
that's
esque right there. You know, like
really.
yeah.
But okay. If anybody else got anything, y'all want to chime in? Got something on your mind, something on your chest? Just want to talk about it, let people know. Going through some things, maybe let it go.
Nah, everything's good, man.
Not right now.
For
Okay.
sure.
Excited for next weekend. Our draft
That's
of
right,
the week
baby.
is
DFDUBB Scrubs. DFDUBB Scrubs fantasy draft next Sunday, man. Let's get it. I'm
I am
excited.
ready.
I'm
So
to get
ready.
this. What picks do you guys have?
I got number 4.
Oh, damn! I done forgot. Oh, I got two. I
Oh, you got
forgot
Yeah.
number
for a
2.
second.
So you're
It
going
took me to
CMC
leave.
or Jonathan Taylor?
I have a strong suspicion that pick 1, the dude that's picking 1 overall, is going to go CMC. So I'm taking JT. I will say I have been doing a few mock drafts where I take Justin Jefferson with my second pick.
Yeah.
Not a
And
bad pick.
Yeah.
who you end up in round 2?
It's been a toss up. I've only done like 2 mock drafts, and they both were complete opposite rosters. So
Okay. So now, Christian, you say round 4?
Pick 4. Yes, I do.
I mean, pick 4. Sorry. All right. So about that time, about 4, 5, 6, there's a couple running backs that may come up there, or the wide receivers, Justin Jefferson or Coop. But we're gonna get down to it. We're calling this I'm calling this the this or that episode. All right, so who here is fat? If you come down, you're going to Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry. Whoever wants to
Dalvin
go
Cook or
first.
Derrick Henry. All right,
Nambo, yes.
Well, you know what? Let's go with Crenshaw. Crenshaw's got the, or no, I'll go first. I got the second pick. You're right.
Whoever's
You're
ready.
right.
I'm ready, man. I tell you what, I got this. I'm gonna go with Derrick Henry. This is one of the things that I kind of changed my mind on because I was a little bit worried, with all the talks of how big of a workload he's had in his career. He's going into age 28, but digging, into it. He's at about 1,400 carries, for his career, and there's plenty of running backs that have hit 1,800 carries that going into their year 28 season, age 28 season, and they're still producing at a high level. One of the guys that I seen was Shady. When he was going into his age 28 season, he had 1,664 rush attempts, 332 receptions, and he finished inside the top 7 the next 2 seasons. But that list is a mile long. We haven't seen any signs of Derrick Henry slowing down. And even last year with his injury, not really worried about it. It's not a soft tissue injury. It was a break. He's had more than enough time to recover from that. And then on top of that, he's going into his contract year. I feel like Tennessee's going to try to squeeze every drop they can out of the King. So yeah, no, I'm on board with Derrick Henry in this one. I feel pretty good about it.
Derrick Henry. That's surprising. I thought you were going Cook.
Dude, it was one of the ones I changed my mind on after looking at it.
What about you,
I'm a little surprised because I went Dalvin Cook. I think I would take Dalvin Cook take him over Derrick Henry. Yeah, like you said, Derrick Henry's a beast. Like, I mean, he gets the carries, all that. But Cook, I think Cook is set to have like just a super star-studded year, especially with them and coming out and saying they're going to involve him in the passing game more. So I mean, they start throwing some more targets, has some more touchdowns. I mean, as far as the rushing goes, we all know what he does. He rushes for over 1,000 yards every season. So I mean, if he continues that, adds a few more touchdowns and some more targets, I mean. If you look at, what was it? 2019, he had a total of 63 targets, 519 yards, and then 54 in 2020, 49. So you get him upwards of the 50+ target range, get him a couple touchdowns. That's RB3 type numbers right there. I'm feeling pretty safe taking Dalvin Cook.
I felt the same way, and then I looked at something. there has been no team that's targeted the running back less than the Rams in the last 3 years. And Kevin O'Connell coming from an over there. So I'm not saying he's not, but that was something. He's coming from
That's a good point.
that offense, and it should look similar. And they don't throw the ball to the running back, but they also haven't had Dalvin Cook, so who knows? But that was one of the things that kind of was a
Yeah. I
tiebreaker.
mean,
I mean,
Dalvin Cook
that's
was never
fair.
really a pass catcher. Like
Yeah.
they never utilized him the way he should have.
But I mean,
Uh,
if they do, it sends them into that top three running back conversation
that
at that point.
echelon.
Like, yeah, I mean,
Absolutely, I agree.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No. I'm on the fence. That's why I have you guys come. I'll probably flip a coin. I like Dalvin Cook, but Derrick Henry, I think he has one more year left in him.
At least I was, man. Yeah, I think so too. It's just like look at him. We're going on to the next one. I ain't got nothing else to say.
All right, we're going on. That was an accident. I'm sorry, Christian.
Nah, you good.
Going on to round two. Who may not even when I made this list may not even be it may not even be relevant anymore. But Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, you're coming in round two. You're looking for that number 2 running back or your first running back. If you went wide receiver first, who are you more comfortable taking? Whoever wants to
Kamara,
answer first.
1,000%.
All
Now,
right.
a lot of these guys is kind of 50-50, but this one, 9 times out of 10, I'm taking Kamara. He's the only reason that we're getting this huge discount is because he might be suspended, and I think that those stocks are kind of going out the window at this point. He's looking like he's gonna play the whole season.
What about you, Nambo?
I'm in agreement with him. I'm picking Alvin Kamara. His upside is just too high to ignore. Like he's saying, he's at this point he's not going to be suspended. The NFL tends to not pass any judgment until after the outside legal situations have usually been settled, and they haven't and don't look like they will be. So I doubt he'll get suspended, if any discipline, until next year. I mean, some notable things of why you would want to take him. I mean, he was an RB5 with Winston under center. And I mean, of course, again this year, Winston's going to be starting. So even with the looming suspension, with an potential top 5 RB finish, I'll take him all day.
Yeah,
All
Okay.
day.
I think he might even. I mean, honestly, he's probably going to sneak into the first round. Let me go down to the running back list right quick, and y'all tell me when y'all going to take Kamara. If he's playing the whole season with Winston, who had an awesome year with Winston last year, when the small time that they had together. CMC, right? Taylor, you're taking him. Eckler, taking Eckler, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook.
So let me know when you'll hit when you get Kamara. Derrick Henry, Najee Harris.
That's it right there. I'm taking him. I got him at 6. I'm taking him right after Derrick Henry, and then right before Najee. I need to update this list. Actually, I got Henry right at 5. Behind
Joe
him.
Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley.
I think I'd take him over Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, and Saquon.
Okay, what about Najee?
I take him over Najee too.
So he's not making it past the first round. Okay. Yeah, probably
Just
not.
picked
Not
early,
within the
so-
next 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean that number 5 pick looking pretty good. Mister.
I like turtles.
All right, so let's move on to round 3. This. All right, going down to the round 3 tier. We're coming down to Zeke and James Conner. Who you got, Nambo?
I'm taking James Conner. I think I explained my reasoning last episode when he was one of my targets. I said in that episode I'd take him over Zeke all day. He's gonna be the workhorse. He's gonna be the guy. Like he's gonna. I think they're gonna utilize him in the passing game more this year. With all the other weapons on that team, I mean he's gonna be finishing top 5 this year for sure.
What about
Yeah,
you, Christian?
yeah, not just like him. I mean, if you tuned in the last episode, you know that he was on my void list. Because I don't think that his role is clear. From last season, it was clear that they didn't want to give him the workhorse role. He only had that role when Edmonds was out. Um, and when Edmonds was there, he was only averaging 11.5 points per game, with a 2% target share. So if he's not getting that passing role, then he's gonna be okay, but not someone I want. Now Zeke, on the other hand, I feel like his role is solidified. And weeks 1 through 6, he was looking like old Zeke. He was looking quick. He was looking powerful. He was the running back 4 of the season. uh, and then so he was running back 4 through weeks 1 through 6. The rest of the season, he was hurt. He didn't have no time to heal. He looked bad, and even with him not passing the eye test, he finishes RB6. And he's got that role. I mean, as much as I love Tony Pollard and how great he is, he's a complimentary piece. They're gonna run with Zeke on the field, most
100
times.
100%. I'm still not 100% sure who I'd take. I think it's a toss up, but I'd probably lean Zeke just because I know he's going to be on the field. That's going to be the difference. Like even last year when he had that injury, he was still trotting out there. He started that season looking like Jonathan Taylor, and he ended up looking like Mike Davis. I don't like it was kind of bad, but
Yeah.
it probably came down to that injury. So we'll find out. But no, I don't disagree.
And the
I'm
fact they
still
didn't
taking
pull
James
him off
Conner, bro.
the fact they didn't pull him off the field even through that injury, I mean, speaks to itself. I mean, he's gonna be on the field constantly this season.
I wonder if
He
that's in
gonna
his
be
contract, how many snaps he takes. That's why he was on the field.
right.
But I have faith that he may have one more year in him, and I think in the third round pick he'll be a steal. But I
Yeah.
think James Conner would be good too. That's why they're going in the third round. He's they're. Are you comfortable them being your RB1 if you go like receiver?
I mean, yeah, I am. I'm 100% comfortable with James Conner being my RB1.
Yeah,
I'm a little iffy with Zeke. I'll tell you that much. I don't know. I don't have high expectations for Zeke this year.
you just know
I,
he's gonna produce though, and he's gonna get those touchdown, those red zone carries.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
You can deal with this or you can deal with that. You can deal with this or you can deal with that. I think you deal with this because this is kind of fat.
All right, this one might be a little bit easier, but at round 4 tier, I was gonna go a different way, with Brees Hall or Travis Etienne, but I chose to go the opposite direction because it might come down to somebody. You're gonna it's gonna come down to a player where you're gonna have to choose between Diontae Johnson and DK Metcalf, even if you may not want either of them on your team. One of them is definitely going to produce. I think we're probably all in consensus of who we would pick here. Christian, who do you got between those two guys?
I'm gonna take Diontae, and it's really just like a leaning towards Diontae. They're both in like the exact same situation. They're in the same season, year of their career. They both are on offenses with horrible offensive lines. They both have huge question marks at quarterback. Um, but I feel like Diontae is the better route runner, and um, there's a question mark with Kenny Pickett. Like I think that he'll be the quarterback sooner than later. And who knows, he might come in and take the league by storm, like Herbert did with when Tyrod Taylor went down. And we haven't been able to see Diontae Johnson with a quarterback that can really move the ball, into the deep range and the intermediate range. So who's to tell what he'll do this year? He's an elite route runner, and I think that he'll be more he'll have um, a higher floor, and he'll be consistent on a weekly basis. You know
I agree. He'll command targets, right? That's why he.
exactly.
I mean, obviously, Big Ben couldn't throw it. He had a noodle arm by that point in his career, but Diontae, that takes nothing away from Diontae Johnson. But on the other hand, you got a very explosive receiver in DK Metcalf who can take it to the house. It's kind of AJ Brown-esque, Well, who do
Yeah.
you think? Who do you think? Who are you choosing,
I'm
Nambo?
I'm leaning towards Deontay Johnson as well.
Mm.
I do love me some DK Metcalf, but that that whole quarterback situation between Drew Lock and Geno Smith, I don't want any part of whatsoever. Um, the Deontay Johnson, I mean, he's their target guy. I mean, he's their go-to guy in every passing play. Had 169 targets on the season. Honestly, that you can't get much better than that. Finished wide receiver 8. I mean, I would take Deontay Johnson all day over DK just because even though he has a question mark with the quarterback, if you look at, I know it's a small sample size, but it seemed like he had some sort of like, chemistry build up with Kenny Pickett there a little bit. So maybe that's a sign to the future of what maybe could happen when Pickett decides to, or when Pickett gets a chance to take over that offense.
Yeah, no, I agree. And even if it's Trubisky to start out the year, I mean, he did support, I want to say, 2 wide receiver 1 seasons for Allen Robinson. So he'll at least hyper target his best receiver. I don't know what that says
That
about
will
the
be
other
Deontay
receivers
Johnson.
out there, but it is what it is.
I mean, it's just Chase
With this,
Claypool.
or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you deal with this, because this is kind of fat.
All right, let's get to the nitty gritty. I know there's somebody Nambo is really high on, and so am I. I think all of us are. Is Mr. Mike Williams and DJ
Yeah.
Moore. You can get with this or that. Who you got, Nambo?
I got me some Mike
Oh,
Williams, boy. Shocker. Surprise, surprise,
Bruh.
bro. I mean, nah, for real, man. Mike Williams is in every draft, in every league that I'm in, Mike Williams is on my target list. Like I
high
explained
target.
last, oh yeah. Like I explained last episode, I mean, I'm even consider, if he's there and I'm coming around that beginning of the third round, and I know he potentially won't be there coming back to me, I may even reach for him there. Like I explained, I mean, he had 129 targets, 76 receptions, over 1,000 receiving yards, 9 touchdowns. They re-signed him, so I definitely think he's going to be the guy on the Chargers offense going forward this season. Potentially taking over that wide receiver one spot for the Chargers.
Gotcha. What about you, Christian?
I actually went DJ Moore on this one.
Mm,
I'm high on Mike Williams also. Like
mm.
I'm buying into the hype and all that, but I mean, if
We
we're
all are,
being,
by the way.
yeah, I mean, we gotta, be real. He's finished inside the top 24 once. He's the
Except for
number two.
Turtle.
He's the
Turtle
number
is down on
two
Mike Williams. Sorry.
on
Go ahead.
on the team alongside one of the most consistent wide receivers in the league. There has not been any drop off with Keenan Allen. He's had copy and paste seasons like the last 3 or 4 seasons. He's gonna get 100 receptions, a ton of targets. And yeah, Mike Williams finishes the wide receiver 12 last year, but that was really due to that incredible start to the year. Weeks 1 through 6, he was the wide receiver 4 on the season. The rest of the year, he was the wide receiver 28. While DJ Moore, in the last 3 seasons, he's put up more than 1,150 yards consistently. He's been a mid to low range wide receiver 2. The issue with him is he's never scored more than 4 touchdowns in a season. Now he's gonna be playing with the best quarterback he has. Um, out of his career. And Cam Newton is the only quarterback that he's had that's thrown over 19 touchdowns at any point in their career. Baker's only thrown under 22 once in his career, and that was last season when he was hurt. So I'm really expecting that tier jump, and I'd rather have DJ Moore right here. But I still love Mike Williams. I'm happy if
I'm taking Mike Williams just for the upside of finishing the year. Like his upside of finishing the year is so much higher, in my opinion, than DJ Moore. So me personally, I'm gonna chase that high ass upside.
I mean, if there's
Mm,
if there's
I
10 more touchdowns on the year, um, in Carolina, I mean, I can see DJ Moore, getting up to eight to touchdowns, 8 to 10 or something like that. It's definitely gonna gonna boost him up there. I think both these guys will finish similar, but I think
Yeah, I'll
DJ Moore
be
is gonna be more
more than
consistent.
happy. More than happy to have either one of these dudes on my team.
Yeah,
I mean, Mike Williams had more touchdowns last year than Keenan Allen. So, I mean,
yeah, but we're talking about PPR here too.
Yeah, we're talking about full PPR.
oh, I know.
I just don't think he'll get peppered with targets, but I think he's still
Had
gonna
more
be really
yards.
good.
Okay, just what about Mike Williams or Michael Pittman, Nambo?
Oh, that's tough, bro. Oh, that's real tough. Damn. I take Michael Pittman because he is like it on
Okay.
that team, bro. He's it on
Okay,
that
I'm
team.
just curious. T.
But
Higgins, real quick, just
Mike
T.
Williams,
Higgins,
bro. I think I take Mike
AJ
Williams over
Brown,
T. Higgins. Mike Williams.
Tyreek Hill.
Mike Williams.
Woo! Let's
Yeah.
go.
I take him over. Yeah.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you'll deal with this because this is kind of fat.
Coming in high on Mike Williams, baby. But let's
I'm
move on to
telling
the
you,
next
bro.
round. All right,
I'm a believer.
round six tier. You get with this or that, Allen Robinson or Marquise Brown. Who y'all got? Another Allen Robinson, another guy who's been just his whole career has just been with just terrible to subpar quarterbacks to below average quarterbacks at best. DJ Moore falls into that category. Even Diontae Johnson hasn't really had a premier quarterback just yet, or even an average quarterback with the late career of Ben Roethlisberger. But Nambo, let's go back to you. Allen Robinson or Marquise Brown? Who you picking?
Yeah, so I will say this much. Allen Robinson, he could definitely have a big bounce back year this year. But I think I'm going for Marquise Brown. I think he's just gonna have a phenomenal start to the season with no D-Hop. I'm a big chaser of upside, so the upside of him is just super high. With D-Hop being suspended, oh, hold on, I'm getting twisted. I'm getting around here. Okay, so when D-Hop was out last year, Christian Kirk was a wide receiver 12 through those 4 weeks. Basically, Marquise Brown, I mean, he's going to be seeing a lot of targets. He saw a 23% target share over in Baltimore. That's quite a bit. Murray also is the third in deep ball accuracy rating, if that's anything to you guys. Marquise is a speed guy. He's gonna see all kinds of targets. I mean, they gave up a lot for him, so I'm as much as A-Rob could have be some big this year. I'm taking Marquise Brown. I feel like he's just got a safer pick.
So you're not concerned about that week 7 or whenever D-Hop comes back? Week 8,
No,
whenever it is.
I don't, because at that point, I think him and Murray are gonna have they could have something kind of going at that point that it's gonna be hard. I mean, yeah, D-Hop's still gonna see his targets, but I don't think it's gonna matter enough. I still think you take him, and he's still gonna be producing for you when D-Hop
I don't
comes
disagree.
back.
I love Marquise
Like,
Brown
you
this year.
don't. I mean, they gave up quite a bit for him, so you don't go out and get somebody like Marquise Brown for him to just take a back seat once D-Hop comes back. D-Hop, when he came back last year, he was, I mean, in my opinion, D-Hop was like kind of meh last year compared to his previous years. So, maybe the Cardinals feel the same way and they want to bring in some younger talent.
And I would say Marquise, this might be option. I mean, this might be just my opinion, but I think Marquise Brown is better than Christian Kirk, right? Would y'all agree?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. What about you, Christian? This or that? Who you got?
I'm taking Allen Robinson. I'm pretty much going to wash last year, blaming on the dysfunctional offense, bad quarterback play. He's going into one of the most pass-happy offenses in the league. And he's going into his prime, believe it or not. The age 29, he's turning 29. In the last 10 years, wide receivers who are 29 years old hold the highest, percentage of finishes inside the top 12. He's playing with the best quarterback of his career. And the receivers get all the love over there in LA. They target the wide receiver position more than anybody in the league. And last year before Robert Woods got hurt, he was the wide receiver 12 on the season, and I believe that Allen Robinson is better than Robert Woods. On top of that, I like Marquise Brown too, but there are some concerns. Obviously he has a problem with dropping the ball every now and then. But really more with Kyler, he doesn't hyper target wide receivers. Even when D-Hop was healthy last year, weeks 1 through 8, he was averaging only 6 targets per game. Brown had a pretty good finish to last year. That was off of 145 targets. And Baltimore was throwing the ball more than Arizona was. So I don't think he gets to that target rate. And I think he's gonna be kind of inconsistent. I think he'll be pretty good, the first 6 weeks. But once D-Hop comes back, I feel like they're gonna spread that ball around. He's not gonna get the volume needed to feel like he's not gonna have a great, a whole lot of volume, and I feel more comfortable taking Allen Robinson.
Okay, there you have it. A-Rob, and I think A-Rob is a safer pick, but Marquise Brown definitely does have that upside. So y'all make the choice.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you get with this, because this is kind of fat.
All right, this or that. We got Kareem Hunt and Tony Pollard in our round 7 tier. We both. I mean, yeah, who y'all got, man? I'm just curious to see what y'all think about that.
Oh,
They both have hype. We know what Kareem Hunt is. We know his role, and we know his upside with. They both. I think I just view them as very similar players in very similar situations. But
yeah,
what
I
you got,
agree,
Christian?
and I feel like we're drafting Pollard this year in hopes that he becomes Kareem Hunt. But we don't know what it's going to be, and we do know what Kareem Hunt's going to be. He's been a very high-end running back, too, since he's played with the Browns. Through any kind of stretch of time that he's been with the Browns and been on the field, the lowest ranking he's had is RB 17. And that was 2019 once he got with the Browns, and that was coming off a suspension. In 2020, he finished as the RB 10. Last year, before he got hurt, weeks 1 through 6, he was the RB 9. He has his role in this offense. He's getting 45% of the snaps. He's just been getting 14 touches per game. He's a really high end running back too, and we know what that role is going to be. And with Pollard, it's just we're hoping that he becomes him. So yeah, no, I'm gonna take the person I know over that. Which that hurts.
Yeah,
to say.
I
I love
mean,
Pollard.
yeah, you got Jakobi Brissett out there. I don't know. What do you think, Nambo?
I'm going with Kareem Hunt.
Okay.
I think he's the better option out of the two going into this season. I mean, Tony Pollard, yes, he had career highs like pretty much across the board for the most part, but he's severely capped with Zeke being over there. Kareem Hunt, last year, first 6 weeks before he got injured, he was a top 10 running back in PPR. He averaged 17 points a game with just about only 15 touches. I mean, that's pretty efficient if you tell me. I mean, he's only getting 15 touches and still averaging almost 17 points a game. Plus, I mean, with Chubb being over there, if Chubb goes down, I mean, that's league winning upside at that point if he takes over the full workload of a number one RB. Even with the rumors of him being traded, I mean, if he gets traded to the right situation where he's going to be that guy, I mean, look what he did when he was the guy for the Chiefs. He freaking balled out. So I'm going Kareem Hunt.
Okay, that's hard to argue. Christian had a blackout. All right, he's back. Okay, yeah, no, I can see that.
Nope.
Okay. So yeah, no, I can see that. I don't know, man. I think Tony Pollard's going to be more involved. Not necessarily as just a strictly running back role, but I think they're going to try to get him the ball. He's very explosive. He doesn't need that many touches to be productive, and I just think that he's going to be in a better offense with more opportunities. I don't know what to think of that Browns team right now. It's kind of a team that I kind of want to just stay away from overall, but they're going to have to move the ball somehow, right?
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think
All right, this or that. This one may have been a little bit easier, or may have gotten a little bit easier within the last day or two. But it's definitely something I was thinking about a week ago. Would y'all rather have Ken Walker, or Rashaad Penny in that round 8 tier?
I am leaning towards Rashaad Penny,
Hmm.
especially with the recent news that just came out where, we're not even sure if Walker will be ready by week one. Even though Penny has an injury history, I think I'm still taking Penny. He was a RB1 through weeks 14 through 18 during the fantasy playoffs. Averaged 18 and a half rushes a game with 134 rush yards. I mean, if he has no Kenny Walker behind him and he's getting 25 plus touches a game, he's going to be, potential RB1. Yeah, I'll take him. Kenny Walker, he was a monster in college. He got the I don't know how to say this right, the Door Walker Award, which is a sport, bestowed on the best college running back. And of course, when he's fully healthy, he could, start to maybe look into get into Penny's touches. But for the start of the season, just for the outlook of it, I'm taking Rashaad Penny just because of his upside going into the season with the giant question mark surrounding Walker.
Gotcha. Draft them, try to trade them by week halfway through the season. What about you, Christian?
I'm gonna take Rashad Penny for
Before he
all the
gets hurt,
reasons.
obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna take him for all the reasons Nambo just said. Yep.
All right, cool.
I,
um,
this one,
all right.
there's a reason I picked him. You know what I mean?
Personally, I think by I just Rashad Penny is very if he didn't have that injury history, he'd probably be a, maybe a third round pick, man. Uh, but he always gets hurt. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he always gets hurt, so I think Ken Walker might be maybe towards the end of the season when it actually counts into the playoffs championship run, he may be somebody that may be on league winning teams.
Yeah.
But I think people might get frustrated to begin the season, may drop him. I'm definitely be quick to scoop him up. But I love Rashad Penny. I think if he could stay healthy, I'd love to have him on my team. But let's move on.
You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think I get with this because this is kind of fat.
All right, round 9 tier. This one gets a little interesting, but somebody you're gonna have to come down to this decision most likely. Alan Lazard, number one wide receiver. Well, number two behind Dobbs now. Apparently, if you listen to everybody else, Alan Lazard or Christian Kirk, this or that. Who you got, Nambo?
So this one, right off the bat, I was kind of like, oh, okay, who do I take? Christian Kirk, he had career highs across the board last year. Of course, filling the void when D-Hop went down. But I went with Alan Lazard on this one. I think he's primed to have a pretty big year. He's one of the few receivers right now that has Aaron Rodgers' trust fully. Um, the I mean they got a bunch of rookies, Watson and Dobbs and all them, and they got some hype with them, but none of them have been playing for a couple years with Rodgers like Lazard has. Um, Rodgers ranked 13th, 8th, and 13th in pass attempts between the 0 and 9 yards from the line of scrimmage. Over that same time span, Lazard ranked 7th, 1st, and 25th in yards per route in that area of the field. So there's a lot of targets that are going to be left up for grabs with the departure of DeVante Adams. So Lazard already playing pretty good in that area of the field. I think the majority of those targets are going to go his way, and he's potentially a big steal where he's going if he's going to end up getting the massive amount of targets that's been left up for grabs by DeVante.
And what do you think, Christian?
I agree. I mean, I'm gonna go with the guy that has, first ballot Hall of Famer, back to back MVP quarterback. He should be operating as the one this year. Last year he finished fifth in points per target. He had 40 catches and 8 touchdowns. This dude's 6'5", 230. He's gonna be a huge red zone target. Aaron Rodgers is gonna throw a lot of touchdowns. And I feel like this is gonna be the guy he's looking for in the red zone. So, yeah, I'm gonna take Lazard over Kirk.
Over under 11 touchdowns for Lazard.
Ooh, that's not easy. I mean, touchdowns are really hard to judge, but
But you
I
said he had
mean,
8 last year
he had eight
with
off of
DeVante.
60 targets. Yeah, so I mean,
So
I would say more, but man, you never know with these touchdowns. But this dude's huge, and he should at least probably get twice as many targets as he had last year. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with the over.
I agree. I'm taking Lazard all day. Give me the quarterback. I think Trevor Lawrence is he's still profiled to be a future Hall of Famer, but as long as that old line looks the way it looks, it may be another year or two. But yeah, give me Lazard all day. Let's go on to the next one.
You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think you'll go with this because this is kind of fat.
All right, this or that. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty. I feel like we're in the double digit rounds. There's a whole pool of players that you can go either way. ADP's definitely out the window. Let's just go through some targets that may be on people's lists and help them choose. So let's go with the quarterback. You waited on quarterback, you punted, you went wide receiver, running backs, tight ends. And now you're down to Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins. This or that. Who you got, Nambo?
I am going Kirk Cousins, bro. I am a
Ooh.
big fan of Kirk Cousins this year.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah, the last 2 seasons, he's found his way into the top 12. Quarterbacks that throw for usually over 30 touchdowns end up in the top, top 12 to 10 range. Last year, let's see, both seasons, the pass rate of the Vikings, was 8th last year. And it looks like it's probably going to get increased with Kevin O'Connell coming into play with a pretty good pass happy offense. So I imagine he's going to flirt with top 10 value. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Derek Carr, but he's only had one season in his career where he's thrown over 30 touchdowns. So like I said, I mean, most quarterbacks finishing in the top 10 throw for over 30 touchdowns. So I'm taking Kirk Cousins. I think he just has the better setup to be able to be productive offensive wise.
I
He's got
agree.
Justin Jefferson, bro. He's got Justin freaking Jefferson.
And my counter argument with that is Derek Carr never had DeVante freaking Adams, Darren Waller, and Mr. Hunter Renfrow. It's the best receiving core he's ever had by far. What you think, Christian?
I got these guys back to back in my rankings, but I'm leaning Carr on this one. He's in a division that's gonna demand a high flying offense. And like you just said, he's playing with by far the best wide receiver he's had in his career. Last season he threw for 4,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, and he has one of the best touchdown wide receivers, in the league. There's only one active player who has more touchdowns in their career than DeVante Adams. We'll save that for later. But anyways, so but if he threw 23 touchdowns last year. If he doesn't get to 30 this year, I'd be shocked. On top of that, Minnesota has, the option to lean on the run game a little bit more. They have one of the best running backs in the league in Dalvin Cook. And, I do think they'll pass more this year, but even LA and Minnesota, they were back to back in pass attempts per game. So I don't know how much more they're gonna throw, but and last year, Kirk Cousins actually took a step back in efficiency. The last 2 seasons he's threw for about 4,200 yards and about 35 touchdowns. I mean, close. But last year he threw the ball 50 more times, almost 50 more times, and ended up with less yards and touchdowns than the year before. But that's not taking anything away from Kirk. I mean, that's still a really solid season. But I think it's closer to his ceiling, and I'm gonna lean Derek Carr because I feel like he's gonna have a much better season this year with those weapons in that division.
Holy crap! Derek Carr threw 626 times, number 5th in last year. Golly, they threw the ball out.
And only
I
23 touchdowns, bro.
yeah, that's why they brought in DeVante. Hopefully sure that up. He also has a lot of yards too. But Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr, man, another flip of the coin. I think I would go. I'd probably go Kirk. I don't know. I'm at the turn. I might take both of them. F it.
There you go. Hey, yeah.
I don't know. Kirk or
Play
Carr.
play the schedule, you know. I think
Yeah.
they're both great. I think
No, I
they're
think
both steals that late.
like I want to clarify something with our last episode with the fades and targets. Because I know I brought up Hunter Renfrow, and it might sound like I don't like Hunter Renfrow. I love Hunter Renfrow. I just rather take other players that are going in that range before him. Okay, I think he's still a fantastic receiver and produce. And actually, with all of my picks, I think all of us will all take those players just further down a little bit.
And since you're saying that, let me clarify something. I'm actually fading Dallas Goedert. You know, even after all the good things I had to
Okay,
say
I'm
about
glad you
him.
cleared that up because I was confused.
Yeah, no,
So
man,
you
it's that
don't
position.
like Dallas Goedert?
I don't like that position right there. You know, but yeah.
Is it because he should have been a Cowboy? Is that why?
Bro, I was so pissed that Philly took him. I was like, man, y'all got Zach Ertz over there. What are y'all doing? You know, and we could have definitely used Goddard. Goddard's a really good player. But
Dallas
yes, I'm
Goddard or
fading him in the
T.J.
second.
Hawkinson?
Goddard.
Goddard or Ertz?
Goddard.
Are you sure you don't like Goddard?
I don't like that
All right.
position group in the seventh, bro. I'm not taking tight end right there.
All right. Are you taking Lance ahead of Kirk and Derek Carr?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
have to. I mean, if you want
Stafford?
them, you're gonna have to. Yeah.
I think I'd
Okay.
take Kirk Cousins.
Also a late round pick, late round quarterback, or maybe more into super flex. I think Tua is gonna have something to say. If those receivers are gonna be good, then that means he has to be good. If you don't think that he's gonna be good this year, or if he's gonna be Tua, then maybe we're overdrafting Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Just something to think about. You guys, it's one or the other. It can't be both, right?
Agreed.
All right, let's keep it moving.
You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think you get with this because this is kind of fat.
Fat. All right. Let's go to this round 11 tier. This or that, Skyy Moore or MVS? Who you got, Christian?
Of course, this is the one that I'm gonna go first on. This one was hard. I mean, and I feel like it's really a complete toss up between these guys. But like I want one of them. They're gonna be on that team that's gonna throw the ball a ton and has maybe the best quarterback in the league. But I'm gonna lean MVS just because he should be the number 2 wide receiver on that team, which I would think that should make him third in line for targets behind Kelsey and Juju. But like I said, like I'm just leaning that way. If I want one of them, whichever one falls to me, I'm happy with. If I end up getting Skyy Moore because MVS went first, or vice versa, I'm not upset. You know, what you got,
I don't
Nambo?
blame you.
Yeah, so I will say this much. At first I was leaning a little bit towards MVS, and then I kind of looked into Skyy Moore. And the more I looked into him, I decided to go with Skyy Moore. I think he's basically set up to come in and hit the ground running. He's a wide receiver 13 off the board in rookie drafts this year. So I mean, he was going in the beginning of the second round, so I think his value right there was very good for the Chiefs. He has a super impressive yak ability. Coming out of college, he was tied first with 26 forced missed tackles last year. Can play both outside and inside, so I feel like that gives him a little bit more of an edge over the other receivers. And last but not least, he doesn't drop the ball. He only had 6 drops out of 176 catchable passes in his college career. So I think set up for a good season with Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he's good.
yeah, I would definitely. I mean, I'm gonna try to get one of them. If Pat Mahomes is throwing the ball, I want to get a piece of that offense. If I can't get the other guys,
Which
all
one
right.
do you want?
Which one do I want?
Yeah,
I'm probably
like
leaning towards MVS, just because Sky Moore's a rookie. I think Sky Moore is probably gonna be in the yeah. Don't make me choose again.
exactly, bro. It's like, man,
My biggest deal with MVS is he played with Aaron Rodgers, and in my
That's a good
opinion,
point.
didn't do much with Aaron Rodgers. So what do you think he's gonna do differently with Patrick Mahomes? Like, yeah,
I just changed my pick. I'm going for Sky Moore. I'd rather give the rookie unknown high upside. I'd rather go with that. All right, you're right.
yeah,
You
man, I'm
convinced
almost
me,
about to
Nambo.
change my mind too.
You convinced me, Nambo. All right.
You can deal with this or you can deal with that. You can deal with this or you can deal with that. I think you deal with this because this is kind of fat.
All right. So we're getting into the later rounds now. What are you doing?
He's like, pick me first on this one.
Oh, okay. All right. Chris is gonna go first, guys. I thought your nipples are getting a little itchy or something, man.
yeah, nah.
The
I block out my camera when
areolas.
that happens,
All right. Yeah, you're on the camera even though someone else is talking. Therefore, you're still on the screen.
Man,
something random. But don't y'all hate those shirts that always look nice but make your nipples look like they just point out all the time?
I have extremely small nipples, so it doesn't
Right?
really
we're
happen.
talking
to me.
about nipples.
I know
now.
I do
Okay.
too, but like mine, I just feel like the shirts I wear end up too tight around my chest. So
Bigger
Speaking
shirts.
of
I don't know.
nipples,
I just got random. I just went random. Y'all were talking about pointing at stuff, so you know.
all right. Transition. I don't know how to segue out of that. Moving away from nipples.
There we go.
All right,
Another
round
player
12,
that's-
round 12.
Hold on. All right. We're going down into the double-digit rounds, right? You're trying to fill out your roster, your bench spots. You want people that you want to plug and play, maybe some high upside guys. I got two similar players here. We got Nyheim Hines, who always gets a lot of hype, and JD McKissic, who's been recently getting some hype with more because of Antonio Gibson kind of declining, returning kicks over there. Who do I got between Nyheim Hines and JD McKissic? I did not forget. Mr. Nipple himself, Mr. Areola, Christian.
Oh, let's
who
not
you
make
got?
that a thing. I'm not Mr. Nipples, all right? Nah, then this one was like easy for me. I'm definitely taking McKissic over Nyheim Hines. He has a rock solid role as the third down back over there. Washington made it a point of emphasis to get this dude back. The deal McKissic had a deal all but done with the Bills, and and Washington came in and sniped him. And he's been a lot more efficient than Hines, in opportunities and way he plays and all that. Last season, out of the 12 games he did play, he was the wide receiver. He was the wide receiver. He was the running back 22 on the year. He had 5 finishes inside the top 24, 2 of them being top 7. He was averaging 14 touches per game. And on the other hand, Nyheim Hines played the whole season, finished inside the top 24 3 times. So yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna take McKissic over Hines.
I'm super
Okay.
surprised about that, just because I always
Me
thought you were
too.
a big Nyheim Hines fan, and just because I went with Nyheim Hines, I decided to go with Nyheim Hines over McKissic. Last year, I feel like it was just kind of a down year, and I kind of tossed it up to quarterback play. I think he'll have a big rebound year this year, especially with Matt Ryan, who passed to the RBs about 8.5 times per game. So I mean that's quite a bit of targets going out to the RBs, and in 2020, when he was getting targeted quite a bit out of the backfield, Hines finished an RB 18 in PPR scoring. So I think for these later rounds with a little bit bigger upside, I think I go with Nyheim Hines just because of the quarterback situation over there. Matt Ryan's is going to dump it off to his running backs, and that running back's going to be Nyheim Hines.
That's a
How
fair
often
point.
do you think Hines is going to be on the field? They got one of the best running backs in the league.
For sure. But at the same time, they're also got to realize that they have a better quarterback, and they do have some receiving weapons that they can take advantage of to maybe lessen the load, I guess you could say, that's gonna take its toll on the future of Jonathan Taylor. To maybe prolong his career a little bit more. Maybe they get a little bit more active in the passing game. If they do, I think Hines is gonna be on the upside of that deal.
Nambo just been straight dunking on you all this whole show, bro.
Has he?
For the fourth year in a row, Nyheim Hines, and I'm surprised too because Christian is a Nyheim Hines truther. You know how he gets hype every preseason, and everybody's so psyched about Nyheim Hines. Christian is one of those reasons. Like, he loves him, so I'm really shocked that you went J.D. McKissic over Nyheim Hines.
Maybe it's
honest.
because I've been hurt. I got
That
him
makes sense.
2 years ago, and week 1. He put up 27 points. He got 8 for 8 passes. And I was like, man, I got the steal right here. This man's gonna take me to the ship. I was getting trade requests and stuff like that, and I was turning them all down. And then he ended up crashing and burning. So it's like,
J.D. McKissic or Antonio Gibson?
yeah, at this point.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. He was gonna be the Washington CMC. What happened to that? Oh,
Can't
Nyheim
hold on to
Hines
the ball.
Maybe they decide to use him more in the passing game. I mean, I've heard a few things like, yeah, he's on special teams, but they might try to involve him more in the passing down. So you might see that some of those targets get taken away from McKissic.
They're literally back to back in these rankings, but all right, let's keep it moving. I'll probably lean JD. Ooh, no, I don't know. All right.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think they deal with this because this is kind of fat.
Two very valuable points, FYI. If I had to choose, I'd probably go JD McKissic. I think his role is secured in that offense.
I'm getting dunked on over here.
But Nambo made some very valuable. Very
He
good
did.
points.
Nah, he did. Like, it's. I agree.
Damn, full PPR. Because they also Nyheim Hines is gonna be used. Like, they made it a point, but then it's the same preseason hype. I'm just thinking out loud here. Matt Ryan throws to his running backs a lot.
Hey, bro, God forbid something happens to a guy that gets a lot of touches gonna get a lot of touches running the ball.
But do y'all see Nyheim Hines? You see him stepping into that same role as that?
It'll definitely be a committee, but I think he'd be the primary in the committee.
You think so? Okay. What does that mean for Marlon Mack? Nobody. Fantasy jokes. Marlon Mack. I don't. Okay, we got to move on. Get off. Leave it alone.
He said J.D. McKissic. That's
right.
a dub for me. We'll keep moving.
All right. Going into this next tier. Round 13. One of these guys has to be fantasy relevant, right? DeVante Parker or Jakobi Meyers, this or that. Who you got? Nambo, our resident New England Patriots fan.
Take the lead on this one. These are two guys on my team. This one, honestly, it didn't take me very long just because I think Meyers is the guy over there. Last year, honestly, I think he's super slept on. Last year, he was the target leader. The last 2 seasons, he's been the target leader for the Patriots. He's finished top 12 in target share. Had a target share of 23% in 2021. He ran a route on 92% of the team dropbacks, which is 6th highest in the league. He does need some more touchdowns. He only had, I think, like 2 last year. And yes, DeVante Parker is the bigger guy. He is expected to be kind of like the touchdown guy. But something that could be a positive sign. I mean, not that it turned into much, but Meyers did see more red zone targets than Debo last year in the red zone. But granted, they only stacked up to 2 touchdowns.
Wrap it up now,
But yeah, I'm leaning with Jakobi Meyers just because he's more proven in that offense.
Yeah,
Okay. What about you, Christian?
I'm in agreement. You know, he's had a whole season to get a little bit of chemistry with Mac. And I think as far as the receiver, you know, just being a receiver, he's better. You know, he finished top 6 in route win rate last year. And yeah, his biggest problem is touchdowns. Now, I don't know how much better it's going to be this year, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think Parker's going to come in and really challenge that. He's only had more than 4 touchdowns once in his career. You know, and New England doesn't really throw the ball a whole lot. They're like bottom 10 in pass attempts per game. But if I had to choose one, I'm going Jakobi Meyers. I think he's a better receiver. And he's had a year to be with Marlon Mack, Mac Jones.
Well, breaking news: Jakobi Meyers and Marlon Mack are a thing.
You got me thinking about Marlon Mack.
You just stuck on those Colts running backs, huh? Nyheim, Hines, Marlon Mack. All right. I don't know. I think I might go DeVante Parker. We know we got Jakobi Meyers. He's fine. 12-point guy. We get it. All right, let's keep it moving.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you get with this, because this is kind of fat.
Okay, we got a young stud on deck now. This or that, Mr. Rondale Moore. People thought he was going to be more involved last year in that Cardinals offense. Now with D-Hop missing the first 6 games, there's a lot of speculation that Rondale Moore will be heavily involved to begin the season. And then we have, on the opposite spectrum, Julio Jones, who needs no introduction. Who do you got, Christian?
I'm gonna go Julio on this one. You know, strictly off of the opportunity I think he'll see. He's on the most pass happy offense in the league. They throw the ball 43 times a game. And last season, the third person in targets per game on that team was Mike Evans, and he was getting 7.1 targets per game. Now, Julio, and all the games that he played with Tennessee, he only had 3 games where he seen more than 7 targets. And in those games, he put up 12, 17, and 18. I do think Rondale Moore does have a lot of upside, but, you know, in that offense, he was just used as a gadget player. He ranked dead last in ADOT last year. If he does get used more in the traditional wide receiver role, I think he can have some fantasy relevancy. But I don't think it'll be on a weekly basis. I think he might have a decent start to the season, but come week 7 when D-Hop comes back, it's kind of my same arguments I have with Marquise Brown. I mean, they don't spread the ball around. Or they do spread the ball around a ton. And I mean, I think he'll have some big games, but they're gonna be like almost impossible to predict. And I don't think that he'll be. I don't think he'll be on someone's team come week 5.
What do you think, Nambo?
Actually, I'm going with Rondale Moore on this one. I mean, you made some valid points about Julio, but I think he's on track to start up the season pretty big, especially without D-Hop and then Christian Kirk, who I felt like was kind of holding him back last year, isn't there anymore. Last year when he did show flashes, he was 3rd in yards after the catch. Per reception, ranked 28th in win rate and 30th in targets per snap. So I assume all of those should go up. And those are all without Hopkins. Yeah, like you said, I mean, with D-Hop coming back, it'll probably stunt his upside quite a bit. But I think to start off the season, I think he's a very in those later rounds. I think he's worth the pick at that point, especially for the start of the season. I'm not a big fan of Julio just because he just can't seem to stay healthy the last 2 seasons. He ain't even played over 10 games. And even when he was healthy and played, he just wasn't the same Julio. So, yeah, he's on a more high-powered offense with freaking Tom Brady throwing him the ball. But I think it's going to be more Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And Julio's just going to be the odd man out. So I'm gonna go Rondale Moore.
I think Rondale will probably have. I think he could win you some weeks in the beginning of the season. I mean, he wouldn't be a bad player to have on your team to help you get through that little section of the year. But Tampa throws the ball a lot, enough to support three fantasy relevant wide receivers, which they did last year. So
AB and Gronk's gone. Yeah.
you know,
But they did. What does this mean for Russell Gage?
My biggest concern
man.
is just his health, man. I mean, he's up there in age. What is he, 33? So, I mean, like, yeah, he's a big dude. He's the
He was
guy.
what, like a
But
third or fourth round pick last year? Julio
he
Jones, how
just
the mighty
Yeah.
have fallen.
age
And then they
33,
were talking
has
about
injury riddled 2 seasons. I'm good.
they're talking about Rondo Moore. Yeah, Rondo Moore as a kind of Debo type. So if you're down on James Conner, and maybe they'll get Rondale Moore some touches.
He is a beast in
But
open field.
I'm probably staying away from both of those and picking the number one defense. To be honest with you, I'm joking. Don't draft a defense or a kicker. Like, why? Just wait.
I don't know. He was almost changing my mind at a point. I mean, it's like Julio might be fantasy relevant, but how fantasy relevant will he be? As to Rondale Moore could end up being the guy that helps win you that
Well,
first quarter of the season.
Chris Godwin, missing. I mean, coming back from that ACL injury, who's to say he's gonna come back 100%?
Yeah.
Obviously, Mike Williams, freaking Mike Evans always has hamstring injuries. I don't know. He could step into a viable role. So they do throw quite a bit, so he can support 3 receivers. The thing is that Brady's been missing from camp. That O-line's taking a hit. I don't know how. I'm a little worried about that offense now. Like, I invested in that offense, and now I'm a little skeptical. But Brady's 57 years old. He'll be, he's been through camps a dime a dozen. All right.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you get with this, 'cause this is
All right. Let's get to 2 rookie wide receivers. Mr. Christian Watson and Chris Olave. This or that. Who you got, Christian?
I'm gonna go with Chris Olave. He was the second wide receiver off the board in this year's draft. New Orleans moved up to get him. They gave up a first, third, and fourth to move up. They made sure they got their guy. He's the best route runner in his class by a mile, according to Matt Harmon's reception perception. In college, he led his team in yards sophomore and junior year, averaging over 14 and a half yards per reception in every season. Also, during that little stretch, he was playing beside Garrett Wilson and Jameson Williams, both also top 12 draft picks this year. And then Christian Watson, he's been hurt, he's been sidelined, he hasn't had no time to build any kind of rapport or chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. And Romeo Dobbs, whatever.
Dobbs.
I've heard it every other way.
It's Dobbs.
But all right, we'll go with Dobbs. But he's
It
been
is
showing
Dobbs.
out in camp. He's getting hype, and enough hype to question who's gonna be higher up that depth chart come week 1. So yeah, and I'm gonna go with Olave on this one.
Is Romeo Dobbs this year's Marquez Callaway?
Very possibly.
All right, Nambo, who you got?
I'm going Chris Olave too, man. Like Crenshaw said, the Rams, fuck. The Saints, they moved up pretty aggressively to get him. He's a freaking beast at separating from the defender. I mean, if Michael Thomas goes down, I feel like he's pretty much a stud at that point. Christian Watson, he's missed a lot of training camp, so he ain't been able to gather that trust with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers tends to not like guys that he doesn't trust. So just with the upside, and I mean, Michael Thomas is coming back from not being on the field for 2 years, so he might be a little rusty. So they might end up turning to Olave. He's pretty electric. I think he's going to be I think in these last two, 3 rounds, he's somebody you want to consider to target.
Okay. So the reason I came down to it, obviously, Green Bay is in dire need of wide receiving help, right? They got Allen Lazard, and then it's pretty much a toss up after that, right?
Yeah.
And even Allen Lazard's kind of
They got
a question mark.
Too.
Okay. The Saints have Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry.
All right, and Green Bay also has Sammy Watkins.
They have Alvin Kamara. So that's why I was like, okay, I'd probably lean towards the better quarterback. I think Chris Olave is going to be definitely part of that offense. I just don't know how good that offense is going to be. I don't know. I just think that Green Bay is probably going to throw a little bit more, and that second wide receiver position is up for grabs. That spot's up for grabs, in my opinion.
They're going to throw a little bit less, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they got one of the best defenses in the league. They got
you can't predict defenses.
Okay, well,
another thing before I got cut off. The reason I don't take kickers or defenses in the draft because there's every single year, without doubt, there's multiple offenses and defenses in the top 5, if not top 10, that are undrafted. The Cowboys literally finished number 1 in fantasy defense last year. They were on absolutely no one's radar. Stop wasting your picks on freaking kickers and defenses. All right, but we can keep it moving.
I agree.
You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think you can get with this because this is kind of.
All right, last but not least, this is just kind of a toss in. Both these guys are probably going undrafted, but just out of curiosity, number 3 wide receiver, the number 3 wide receiver on each team should be it should be a prolific offensive teams. Would y'all rather have Van Jefferson with the Rams or KJ Osborne with the Vikings? Nambo?
I went with KJ Osborne on this one, just because of Adam Thielen. I mean, yeah, he still could be Adam Thielen and get touchdown machine, but at the age of 32, I think KJ Osborne's primed to have a really good season. Last year, he had more touchdowns than Cooks, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, and CeeDee Lamb. So even as the number 3 option last year, he still outscored in the touchdown department against those 4 people who were 3 of them were top 10 wide receivers last year or finished top 10 or something like that. So yeah, Van Jefferson, he's got Matthew Stafford throwing him the ball. But I think that's all those targets are pretty much gobbled up with Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson over there. So it's the last pick of the draft. I'm taking my shot on KJ Osborne.
What about you, Christian?
I agree for most of the same points that he made. I mean, they're essentially the same in the same situation. They're both the offenses should look similar. And yeah, I mean, I think Osborne has a better route to targets because of Thielen. And he was also just better than Van Jefferson last year. He had a higher route win rate. He had higher points per target. And Van Jefferson seems to have an issue with drops. They had about the same amount of targets. KJ Osborne had 1 drop compared to Van Jefferson's 11. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I would take Osborne over Van Jefferson. I don't know if I'd take him at all. Really, these guys need an injury to happen. Ends. Yeah, for them to be.
Well, let's say Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson go down in the preseason.
Yep, Osborne.
I'd take KJ Osborne.
Okay.
I'd pick him up real quick.
Okay, well, I'm going to pick him up first, and then you can trade for him. All right, so that's this or that. Hopefully these guys gave you something to think about and gave you clarity. If I had to pick a winner,
I like turtles.
Turtle is the winner for staying with us this whole time. I appreciate you, Johnny. I think he's asleep. But to cap it off, Christian has a trivia question for us this evening, right? Going back to what you said earlier. What was that question?
That was okay. So there's only one receiver that's active in the league right now that has more touchdowns in their career than DeVante Adams. Who is it?
Is he old? Is it Julio?
I'm not giving you no. This is not a hard one. I'm not gonna give you.
I say Mike Evans.
Ding ding ding.
Yeah, that was gonna be my other one.
Yeah,
Dang,
hold on.
Undefeated up
Hold
here.
on. Dang, that was long. All right, and that's your this or that episode from me, Christian, Nambo, Turtle Valdes in the background. We'll holler at you next time. Peace.
DFDUBB Scrubs coming up. DFDUBB Scrubs get the dubs. DFDUBB Scrubs is the plug. DFDUBB Scrubs showing love.